But the real pressure is on the first team to take one of those two players. Let's say it's the Miami Dolphins at pick 3. If they take Devonta Smith and he ends up with, I don't know, a really good career, but JaMarr Chase has an outstanding career, then the Dolphins are going to have some sort of referendum against them. Whereas, the evaluation, you were accurate. Like, they're both going to be really good players. The real pressure is on whoever takes one of those two players first, but the dividends are substantial because of how talented those guys are. And speaking of talented players, Todd has Kyle Pitts, the Florida tight end, coming in at number 6. And the great Peter King, in his most recent Football Morning in America column, which we encourage everybody to read weekly, was very gracious to follow or to pass along some of the nuggets from last week's podcast. We discussed this, Mel, is that it may not be the single highest tight end prospect, but off memory, Kyle Pitts is the highest graded tight end prospect you had in terms of where he stacks up in his class as a potential top 5 player. Yeah. How much different is he than a Vernon Davis or a TJ Hawkinson or some of the other really highly drafted tight ends we've seen over the past 15 or so years?
Yeah, we went to all the names. I got them all here. A lot of tight ends had high grades, but this is the highest ever for me. In terms of a tight end, he's going to be way up there. Kyle Pitts is in the mock. I'm having them going really high, and I think he's a difference maker. He's a nightmare, and you can move him around. He can block adequately enough to be an inline guy. If you want to move him inline as a traditional tight end, you can flex him out, slot wide, do everything you want with him. He's phenomenal. He's going to go very high. And he's going to be an elite tight end, hopefully in the NFL moving forward. He's going to be expected to be. Just to go back real quick, Field, to finish up what you just said about Miami's interesting at 3 because Devonta Smith was with Tua. So if you're moving forward with Tua, you might like Chase a little better. If they're equal, does it push you because Devonta worked with Tua and was there at Alabama with him? That complicates that a little bit when you start projecting Miami, just to finish that whole conversation about Miami up in terms of where they'll go. And bigger doesn't always, even though Chase is a bigger body, bigger doesn't always make you better. We go back to a lot of receivers that came out that weren't quite as big as the guy who went ahead of them, turned out to be a little bit better. So yeah, if they're great, they're great. AJ Green, Julio Jones. And to your point about taking the one that's left, alleviates all the pressure on you. If you take the receivers left, you're in great shape. Philadelphia takes Chase or Smith. We took the one was left. I talked about that last week with the quarterbacks. You take Ben Roethlisberger, Rivers and Manning went first, great. You take Josh Allen after Sam Darnold went and Baker Mayfield went, great. So for me, there's nothing wrong with that. It varies, but let somebody else make that tough call. We're happy. Remember last year, Tom Telesco said, hey, I'm the Chargers at 6. I'm happy getting any one of the 3. Yeah. End up with Justin Herbert. Pretty good, right? So sometimes it's better. Let them make the calls. If we're happy with the way the players are graded, with getting the guy that falls to us, and we're not stretching it for a guy that we're picking 6, we're getting a 12th best player. As long as we're getting a guy inside that 6 and the grade aligns with where we're picking, I'm happy letting somebody else make those tough calls. And there are a lot of positional, very difficult calls because of the opt-outs this year with some of the elite players in this draft.
Thanks for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming sports and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.